St John, let's start with this top line out of your executive summary then. The pivotal moment in relations between London and Beijing. What makes this moment pivotal?
Tom, thank you. It's great to be able to join you today to talk this through. You're right, it is pivotal, and you're right that there are things that continue to cause challenge for British businesses, and you've already named a number of them. And we spoke about these last year. There are some new issues that I'll come to, but the top four, of course, are cybersecurity and really needing greater clarity on the draft regulations that are coming out. There are good fundamentals there, but the lack of clarity is causing businesses challenge, the ability to build interconnected global businesses. State competition, yes, you mentioned, it continues to be a challenge for how does private businesses here really build their businesses amongst the state-owned enterprise sector right now. But I'd like to come to two things that are genuinely new. The first is, how do we ensure travel can resume safely within all necessary pandemic measures? We still have some British nationals overseas, yes, but we need to build a way that people can come in and out more reliably. And that includes exit entry, get out and come back in. And the second key thing that we are discussing with the Chinese authorities is around dependence. How do you get families, children, and others in with those that are either taking positions or continuing to work within the Chinese mainland?
St John, just bringing to our attention, the attention of our viewers, the fix for the currency today, just slightly stronger than the estimates, 640.99 versus the estimates of 641, slightly stronger than the estimates. In terms of the offshore, you're looking at 640 currently trading for the currency. You've had, of course, longer-term dollar weakness and a question mark over how much the officials here are prepared to stomach in terms of that Yuan strength. St John, just switching focus to what we're seeing in terms of the political makeup and reaction back in London. How difficult is it for you now to gain traction in terms of your arguments to keep engaging China? What kind of walls are you facing in terms of the politics in London?
Look, it's a great question, and it's obviously written all over the news and the commentary right now. But there are audiences that can see through this, but we are advocating that this is not the time for disengagement. It is completely the opposite. This is the time for genuine engagement on these tough issues. We will not progress with disengagement. The Chamber has 40 years on the ground here, and we have seen ups and downs in the relationship. But the thing that is very clear is that engagement does get us through to a stronger future.
St John, where are we in terms of these cybersecurity challenges? What are the specific issues that are facing your members?
So fundamentally, the legislation remains vague. The cybersecurity law, it has compelled businesses to err on the side of caution. But more specifically, there are phrases in there that require important data to gain sort of approval before you can transfer things across border, yet that notion of important data is not defined. So that is why companies err on caution. There's also subject to safety assessment requirements on that cross-border transfer. All of this results in companies unable to build really global R&D sort of businesses here. We are bringing this up, and the authorities here are engaged in that conversation. So it is not that there is a closed door, but that's, again, why engagement both in London but also in China is absolutely critical.
And at this point, I mean, it's something very simple and almost a public service announcement. I'm wondering, travel is a very big part, as you mentioned, of what this position paper essentially lays out and the importance of hopefully opening that back up. Are you hearing anything from your side? Any indication at all on when we might see travel normalize between the UK and China?
From China's point of view, there's been huge sacrifice through last year to maintain the safety within the borders of the Chinese mainland. And certainly we are not anticipating that to fundamentally change. But it is how working within the system that the mainland has put in place to ensure the safety of the people here that we can get people coming through. So we're not anticipating a relaxation necessarily on the quarantine systems that are at the border points. We are seeing a significant increase in the vaccination rate, which is encouraging. I think the mainland passed 500 million jabs over this past weekend, and they seem to be ramping that up very, very fast. So that is a good signal that we could be getting eventually to the ability to reopen borders in a much more trustworthy and safe manner.
So, St John, what are the prospects for UK services? We talk a lot about the movement of goods between borders, but UK services is one area of strength for that economy. What are the prospects for that going forward?
Tom, thank you for that. I mean, I think that there are significant opportunities, but it remains an area that is fundamentally underinvested by a lot of companies, and they're sort of overlooking and perceiving challenges there. I mean, the overall trading relationship has continued to grow, and if you look over the last 20 years, the sort of WTO accession 20th anniversary coming up, we have seen year-on-year growth. This last year, yes, it is down about 8%, but overall that trend line is significantly higher. And I think actually, if you looked at the last 2 years of overall trade, and include Hong Kong in the mainland numbers, we're above 100 billion sterling in trade there, and that trend line we are confident is going to continue to grow, including on services.